So this evening we are going to today wanted to do emerge beyond the normal. And I wanted us to look at the laws of growth, the laws of impact, and the laws of manifestation. But we will just do the laws of growth, and then we would do the dichotomy of fear, friend, or foe. And the rest of the sessions, I may, depending on how I'm led to do it, I'll give you guys feedback on it. And so the laws of growth, how many of you here have read the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell? Or you've read that book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth? Theophilus, I'm sure you've read that book, or you haven't? You have. Awesome, awesome. Becca, have you?
Yes,
Becca, have you read that book? How about you, Idris? Have you read the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth? Becca, you haven't read that book. Interesting. You should. You should read it. I've been reading it every year for the past 3 years now, or 4 years, since 2021. I started it, but it will take time because of my exams. Okay, that's fine. Becca, read that book. Every one of you should read that book. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through those laws with you, and then I'll share my thoughts with you on them, because I feel that that is the first book I read that gave me the understanding of growing, have in terms of personal development. Because until I read that book, I did not know what it meant to grow. And like John C. Maxwell said in the book, when the man asked him if he had a personal plan for growth, and before, as at then, I didn't even know that someone could have a personal plan for growth. And so it captures, it gives you more like the reasons why you should grow and how you should grow. And so I want to talk to you about those laws, because it is true. I have found out that most of the things, most of the laws stated in the books are actually true. And so, what are the laws? The first law is the law of intentionality. And it states that growth doesn't just happen. You cannot expect to wake up one morning and grow. You have to be intentional about it. And the thing about growth is that you have to know that growth does not happen in a vacuum. Like the last time I was explaining to you that behind the logo for Evolve is that growth is continuous and it is also complete. What that means is that growth going in one area leads to growth in another area. And so the first law you should understand about the laws of growth is that growth has to be intentional. You cannot just wake up one morning and then expect that you have transformed or you have become better. 2 days ago, I spoke about confronting confirmations, and I made it clear to you that you have to intentionally do opposite of what you are being conformed to be. You see, if scientifically speaking, it has been proven that your body temperature, everything that happens within your body, is opposite of what happens in the environment. Once everything that is happening between your system becomes equal to what is happening around you, you are dead. What do I mean by that? When you check your body temperature, it's either warmer than the room you are in, or it is colder than the room you are in. So when you are in a hot room, you realize that your body begins to sweat because it's trying to regulate your temperature to make it cold, opposite of the room or opposite of nature. But once you die, someone dies right now, when you check the person's body temperature, it is the same as the room that person is in. That is because there is nothing fighting against the environment. So what that means is that as a human being, for you to be alive, your body is constantly fighting, is constantly behaving opposite of what is around you. And that is how you should also be as a human being, mentally speaking. That if you become mentally docile and dormant, you realize that you will start to go with the flow. When I was a missionary, the founder of the mission organization, Paul Gibbs, used to have this saying. He says that it is the extreme that influences the mainstream. It is the extreme that influences the mainstream. When you look around you, when we talk about people who are succeeding, when we talk about people who are making impact, you realize that such people do extreme things. They are not just doing normal things. It goes both ways, whether they are doing bad things or they are doing good things. They have this ability to do more than the normal. And when I ask a question right now, that who is the worst person you know, there's someone that comes to mind, because based on how they behave and based on what they do, you can tell that they are doing the extreme, and it is the extreme that influences the mainstream. How that applies to the loss of growth in this area is that if you are not intentional about taking steps and making decisions that contribute to your growth, you remain docile and you remain normal. One of the I was saying to someone, I don't remember when, but a couple of days ago, I was saying to the person that one of the reasons why people are not making progress in life is because they are constantly fighting the desire in them to make progress. That what that means is that every one of you, when you know there is a form of dissatisfaction in your heart, you know you are made for more. You know there is more that can come out of you. You know it. There is that dissatisfaction in your heart. And that is because deep within you, deep within yourself, you know that you have to make progress. But people are not making that progress because they lack that bit of intentionality. So how then do you how do you become intentional about your growth? There are some things he calls the gap traps. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is what he calls the gap trap. And there are about 6 gap traps that he mentions. The first gap trap is the assumption gap. I assume that I will grow automatically. And that is the trap a lot of people fall under, thinking that, I mean, if I'm going to school, I'm sleeping and I'm waking up and I'm going to church and I am growing. But it doesn't work that way. The second is the knowledge gap, which is I don't know how to grow. That is the essence of Evolve, to give people the knowledge they need to grow, where to start from. So you know for sure that in your ability to grow, the first place to start from is to start from your exposure. That is the most fundamental place to grow from. Start with your exposure. What do I mean by exposure? Start with the things you listen to and the things you see, and the places you go, the people you surround yourself with. Start from there. It wasn't Bishop Oyedepo. Pastor Poineche says that you are not doing anything about your destiny if you are not doing something about your company. You are not doing anything about your destiny if you are not doing anything about your company. So the things you see, and then the things you hear, the places you go to, and the people you spend your time with. These 3 things would cover up for your inadequacy or your knowledge of not knowing how to grow. Exposure. The third one is the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. The best time to have started your growth was yesterday. The next best time is today. Today is the best time to start your growth. And then the fourth one is the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. Well, if you're afraid of making mistakes, then you are not doing anything, because the only way you know you are making something out of your life is when you make mistakes. Then you can course correct and then find your way out. Again, it reminds me of my conversation with my cousin again with yesterday as well, that some of the things I'm realizing about value and evolve right now, the mistakes I am making right now, I thank God I am learning them. I don't regret. It is proof that I am learning. It is proof that I am going, because I'm realizing what I have to do in order to maximize the input and what we are doing. What that means is that after the next few steps I want to take, if I make a mistake, I will realize, okay, I can course correct. That means I am making something, I am progressing, I'm being intentional on the journey. If you are afraid of making mistakes, it only means one thing: you are not making any progress. Because one of the ways you know you are making progress is by the mistakes you are making. PK Sorian says that ordinary lives don't bleed. And that is the point. What he meant to say by that is that people who are not making anything, people who are just living ordinary lives, are not experiencing any pain. One of the ways you know your heart is beating is if you are bleeding. You cut yourself and you are bleeding, then you know your heart is working. But if I cut you and you are not bleeding, then it means that your heart is not working. And so ordinary lives don't bleed. The only people that bleed are people who are taking steps, who are making extraordinary, who are living extraordinary lives. And so if you are not experiencing any pain, especially, it is important for you guys that you are on the journey of growth, because I can tell you that growth is very difficult. The most difficult thing you can ever embark on is to change yourself. It is far easier to help people to change. It is far easier to try to teach people or try to preach to people. But the most difficult thing you will ever do with your life is to try to change your life. You have no idea how difficult it is. You will fail, you will cry, you will worry, you will wonder, is what I'm doing, is it making sense? Am I making progress? That is what that pain you are feeling is the pain of knowing that you are making progress. So don't forget, ordinary lives don't bleed. So if it means that if you are bleeding, that means you are not living an ordinary life. If you are thinking and you are struggling and you are wondering, will things work out for me? It means you are not living an ordinary life, because those that are living ordinary lives don't worry about the things that are happening around them. Anyways, let's continue. Then the fifth one, the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. Yesterday, while we were on the call, I think my friend Lucky asked the question that he has a lot of dreams, he has a lot of plans, he has a lot of things he wants to implement, but he doesn't know how to start. And behind people not knowing how to start is because it's the idea of, I have to find the best way, the perfect way to start. And it is not true. You only find your way when you have started. And like I said from the previous one, that it is when you are making, when you are taking the steps, that you realize that you are making mistakes. There is nothing perfect. You see, if today was perfect, tomorrow would not be needed. Listen carefully. If today is perfect, there is no reason why we should be awake tomorrow. You see, the future of everything is in that thing, but it lies in that thing as an imperfection. Please listen to me very, very carefully. This is very important. The future of everything is in that thing, but it's in it as an imperfection. What do I mean? I will take an iPhone. This is iPhone 11. The future of iPhone 11, which is iPhone 12, was in this iPhone 11, but it was in it as an imperfection. So you realize that what they keep doing is that they are upgrading and they are making it perfect and perfect. So now the future of iPhone 17 is in iPhone 17, but it is in it as an imperfection. So it is those that will realize the imperfection of iPhone 17 that they will make iPhone 18 or 19 or whatever. What it means is that your future is in you, but it is in you as an imperfection. So it is in working and doing something that you can birth your tomorrow. The future of everything is in that thing, but it is in it as an imperfection. The Garden of Eden was not perfect. You see, sometimes people are saying, oh, if it had not been for Adam and Eve, we would be in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden was not perfect, because if it was perfect, the serpent, Satan, would not have been there. But the future of the Garden of Eden was in there, but as an imperfection. So when God is able to perfect the Garden of Eden, that is when we are all going to, whether it is heaven or paradise, depending on what your faith tells you. So the future of every single thing, you see that when from technology is advancing because they are finding ways of solving the previous problems. And so don't wait for what you want to start to be perfect before you start. When I wrote my book, Evolve, when I read it, as at the time I wrote it, I felt it was good. But few months after I read this book, and I'm realizing that no, there are still things that I can make better out of. I can write the stories better, I can explain myself better, I can simplify certain things. But if he had not existed, I would not have realized what I can make better. So the future of everything is in that thing. Your future is in you, but it is in you today as an imperfection. I don't want to overdwell there. This on its own is a whole topic. Anyways, let's go to the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. Believe me, if you always want to feel like starting your goal before you. Guys, are you understanding what I'm saying so far? I hope I have not lost you. Let me get your feedback. I hope you guys are all here with me. John, I see you. Thank you for joining. Okay, give me. I've been telling you guys that one of the things I'm realizing is that when I'm rewatching the videos, I keep asking you guys to give me feedback. So don't wait for me to ask you for the feedback. Just if something resonates with you, let me see so that I know you are following me. Because I'm just, as it stands now, I feel like I'm just talking to my slides and my screen because I can't see any of you. And so if you give me the feedback, it makes me know that I am communicating, because communication is both ways. It's not a unilateral thing. Awesome. So for those of you that are still with me, thank you for being with me. Then the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. You see, there is a difference between getting better and being better. There is a difference between getting better and being better. If you think you are being better, it is usually in relation to other people. Oh, I am better than these people. I read more, I pray more, than I go to church. I am better than. So if you are thinking of yourself of being better, it is usually when you are comparing yourself to other people. But if you think of yourself as getting better, it is usually in comparison with your previous self. And so one of the things that I want you guys to start saying is not that you are being better, but is that you are getting better. That means that when you look at yourself yesterday, you look at yourself 2 days ago or last year, you can realize that you are getting better. Because the truth is, and this has become kind of one of the mantras or things that I keep repeating, that nothing is small until it is compared. The reason why some of you feel as though you are not making progress in life is because you are comparing yourself to other people. You are not comparing yourself to who you were previously, where you were coming from. So the reason why it seems as though God is not doing much with your life is because you are comparing it with other people. And so it seems as though your life is small. Nothing is small until it is compared. And my hope and prayer for you is that after today, you will start seeing yourself as getting better, but not as being better than other people. Because you see, every one of us have our own race to run. Both Joseph and David had the prophecy to lead the nation of Israel over on their life. They had the same oil and the same unction of leadership on them. But at the age of 17, Joseph was being sold into slavery, was going to be imprisoned for at least 2 years, because we don't know how long he was in the prison before he met and interpreted the dreams for the cupbearer and the baker. So at least we know he was there for at least 2 years. But at the age of 30, he was crowned king, second only to Pharaoh. David had the same prophecy over his life to become a leader of a nation. But at age 17, he had already killed Goliath and he was hailed a national hero. Both of them had the same oil, but at that age, one person was suffering as a slave while the other person was being celebrated a national hero. So if you see Joseph and you see David and you ask Joseph, why is it that God told you are going to lead the nation of Israel, but you are in prison? And David, at the same age as you, is being celebrated a national hero. That is because their life's journey are not the same. You see, it might surprise that some of you, it's like I'm teaching and I'm the one doing Evolve and I'm teaching you this group. And it will be as though 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, I will pay to sit and learn and hear something from you. So don't compare yourself to other people. Only compare yourself to yourself. Always see yourself as getting better. And then the expectation gap, I thought it would be easier than this. You see, one of the easiest way and the fastest way for you to succeed, keep this principle because it is very, very important, is you see, there is what we call the mental map. Your ability to fuse is a good word, to fuse your mental expectations to reality. Because some of you are living in delusions. What I mean by you are living in delusions is because you think life will be comfortable for you. Think immediately you start taking certain steps, everything will start falling for you and things will start running for you smoothly. But life is, if you think life will happen to you because you want it to happen to you, you don't understand life. You are not living reality. Because the reality about life is that life is hard. The reality about life is that people will not believe in you. The reality about life is that even the people that you think you are helping, they will end up betraying you. If you think you are going to go through life and you are not going to experience any hurt or any pain or any disappointment, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are living a delusional life. That is the truth. Anyways, let's continue. So we have discussed the law of intentionality, that growth does not just happen. Now, the growth of awareness, you have to know yourself to grow yourself. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I've already spoken about awareness, the power of self-awareness in the previous thing, and I've given the self-identity audit. But you have to see value in yourself to add value to yourself. You have to be aware that your life matters. You see, that is why prophecy is important. One of the reasons why prophecy is important, because it makes you know that there is an expectation over your life. It makes you aware of what God has put on you so you can work towards it. That is the law of awareness. You have to see value. Okay, you have to know yourself to grow yourself. And then the law of the mirror is you have to see value in yourself to add value to yourself. I tell this to people sometimes that, you see, if you, it is wickedness not to believe in yourself and expect other people to believe in you. It is wicked, especially for those of you that are in love relationships and you want your partner to treat you better, but you are not treating yourself better. You have to see value in yourself in order to add value to yourself. You have to know. This is one of the reasons why people are easily they easily fall prey to self-sabotage because they don't see themselves to be valuable. The people who are junkies, who are drug addicts and everything in between, it is mainly because they were raised up not experiencing any kind of love or any sense of value, and so they don't see themselves to be valuable. But if you want to grow, you first have to come to the point where you see that, no, my life matters. When you believe in yourself, when you see value in yourself, you will strive to add value to yourself. It is very important. So don't forget the law of the mirror. You have to see value in yourself to add value to yourself. The law of reflection. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. Don't just go through the process of learning by just learning and accumulating knowledge, especially in our days and our time, where you can literally just tune into any social media platform and learn anything. Men of God are just putting shorts on the reels on the internet. People are just saying things, so you can just go in from learning to learning, and it will become a source of entertainment for you. And there are actually people like that what we are doing, they've attended every single seminar, they've read every single book, and that used to happen to me, if I'm being honest with you, where I saw learning as an entertainment. I would just read this book because I thought I'll watch this video, I'll move to this place, I'll go here, I'll listen to this message, and it became a source of entertainment, just why I have that sense of, okay, I am learning. But growth matters, or growth catches up with you when you learn to pause. Because when you pause and you reflect, John C. Maxwell says that we say experience is the best teacher, but experience is not the best teacher. It is reflected experience that is the best teacher. It is the experience that you have learned to reflect on that is your best teacher. So after every single time you have learned, just take time to really reflect. And you see, the truth about most things is that you don't have to remember everything you have learned. There is this principle I want to leave with you. It's called the point that sticks. Listen to me very carefully. The point that sticks. What it means is that I'm mentioning all this. I'm making mention of all these points and all these things, and I am talking about, for some of you, it is only one point that will stick with you throughout this week. All the things we are talking about, the confronting everything, it's just, for some of you, it's just one thing that will keep ringing in your mind throughout this week. Focus on that. Like Theophilus yesterday, Theophilus mentioned that of all the things I taught, the only thing that stuck with him was you have no original thought. And for him, maybe that is the only thing that will help him in this journey. So always remember that when you are learning something, remember that there is something called the point that sticks. Focus on that point, the point that stuck to you, and then learn from it. You don't have to. There are some books that I have read them, but if you ask me to tell you everything, I can't remember. But I can tell you only one thing I remember about that book, and it is worth it. I remember this book, please remind me. The Courage to be Disliked. There is only one point I remember from that book. And that book is almost 200 pages. But if you ask me right now to tell you something about that book, it is only one point that I remember from that book. Does it mean I did not read it? No. What it means is that at that point where I was reading that book, that was what I needed the most. You see, if you can, every single time you maybe listen to a message or you read a book or you were in a seminar, if you can take just one thing out of it and implement it and work on it from every angle, you realize that your life keeps growing and you are making progress and you are going forward. So it is not about remembering a whole lot of points, but it is about reflecting and learning to pause with that single thing that you realize that no, this is the thing that really stuck with me. And so learn to reflect, learn to pause. Don't just be entertaining yourself moving from one book to the other because we say maybe read books, you are just moving from a book. No, it is, if it is more valuable for you to have stuck with one thing than not to live with anything at all. Is that clear? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Let's continue. So there are 4 stages. There's something we call the learning cycle, and I learned this when I was a missionary. It's something we use after every single activity we do, and you can use it either every single day. You can use it to kind of analyze your day, or you can use it to master anything in your life. The learning cycle. So we have the first stage is pragmatist. The first stage is activist. Sorry. So you learn, what did you do? You make a list of the things you did today. Then reflector. What was effective and what was not effective, or what stuck throughout the day? What were the things that really were activities that I did in the day that stuck with me? Then theorist. How can I make my day better? What were the things that made today effective? Was it that I spent time with my family? Was it that I read this book? So you are making sense of your day. And then pragmatist, how can I do more of the thing I did? Or how can I improve on it? Or how can I find opportunities and avenues to experience more of that thing? So the learning cycle, you can screenshot it and then do a bit more research on it to give you a better understanding on how to analyze your day and how to reflect so that growth will catch up with you. And then we have the law of consistency. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you growing. I can motivate you. And you see, the thing about most of us, I remember I was telling you the statistics for the year that a lot of people are motivated at the beginning of the year. But before January comes to an end, 80% of the people who set New Year's resolutions give up on them. Some of your New Year's resolution was that maybe you read your Bible every day, or you will pray every day, or you listen to a sermon, or you read a book, or you have so many resolutions. But somewhere along the way, we just give up, mainly because we have not learned how to create systems. And Irene calls herself a queen of discipline. And you have to create systems around you to support the growth you are looking for. And that is what backs the law of consistency. Yesterday I made, and if you want more, when I upload yesterday's video, you can watch it, because yesterday we spoke about goals, habits, and creating systems, and the fact that your willpower is limited. You see, willpower, scientifically, it has been proven that willpower is like a muscle. The more you work it out, the more tired you become. So let's say you hold something in your hand for a long time. The longer you hold it, the more tired your hand becomes. And that is how willpower is. That if you try to do something with your willpower over a period of time, you get tired. And then you start falling to negative habits. So create systems around you that will help you. For creating systems and the law of consistency. I will encourage each one of you to get this book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, or watch yesterday's video when I upload it. Then the next is the law of environment. Growth strives in conducive
people leave from they are going to eat, I should come and eat. Hey, what you want to do?
Growth strives in conducive. Charles, I don't know if you can pause yours, mute yourself. Growth strives in conducive environment. I made it clear to you that one of the reasons why I created Evolve, this community, is mainly because I wanted to create an environment of people who are growing, people who are getting better, who are improving. And so if you are in a surrounding and an environment where you realize that people are growing, they are reading, they are finding out, they are challenging themselves to do more, you realize that it challenges you to do more, because it is true that you are an average of the 5 people you spend time with, you talk to, and you listen to. You are an average of the 5 people you spend time with, you talk to, and you listen to. And like I said earlier, that you are not doing anything about your destiny if you are not doing something about your company. If you are not doing something about the company and the environment you are keeping, it means you are not interested in having a glorious destiny. So that is why one of the reasons why I created Evolve, to create an environment of people who are growing and are becoming better. So growth strives in conducive environments. The law of design: to maximize growth, develop strategies. This is why I wrote the journey of becoming, Evolve, where I'm giving you strategies on how to grow and to become better. So it's called the journey of becoming, because if you're on that journey, you are developing the strategy at which you need, or to which you need, to make the best out of your life. So start designing your life. What are the strategies you will put in place to read your Bible? What are the strategies you will put in place to learn new things? Maybe to start your business, maybe to meet mentors. What are the strategies you are putting in place to stop your negative habits, your addictions, those of you that are addicted to porn, or all these negative things that are keeping you away from your goals and your visions? What strategies are you developing that will get you closer to them? It is very, very important. And the law of pain: good management of bad experiences lead to great growth. Can I tell you something? Pain is the school fees you pay in the journey of life. No matter what you do, you cannot run away from pain. Last year, after our mastermind, this mastermind group like this, I think somewhere in April, it was in April, I went through one of the worst experiences of my life. I was scammed of some online money thing, and it's I look back at it and I just thank God that I managed to survive that season. But you realize pain is the school fees you pay. It is your life. Like we said, life is hard. That is your fee, the fee you are paying life to learn. Because there are certain things that you will learn in life that will only come through the pain you have suffered. And so let's not run away from pain. As Idris, you said, deal with pain rather than run from pain. Yes, deal with them. Because the truth is that the pain you don't deal with today might deal with you tomorrow. Anything you cannot confront, you cannot change. Anything you tolerate will persist. So if there are certain pains in your life and you are not dealing with them, they will persist. If you can't confront it, you can't change it. It's up to you guys. But the law of pain is actually real and true. Then we have the law of ladder. The law of the ladder. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. I don't want to get into this topic, but I want to let you understand that, team, character is very, very important. I am in this season, one of the things I'm really realizing is the power of character in the things you are doing. Because you can your competence, your skill, your favor will open the door for you, get into the room, but it is your character that will determine if you can stay there or you'll be sacked out. And when you look throughout the Bible, you realize that there were people that God opened doors for, that by their competence they entered, and by their character they either stayed or they were sacked out. And so your character growth will determine the height of your personal growth. Then the law of the rubber band. Growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. That is why it is important that you set visions and you set goals for yourself, so that there can be tension between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. Because if you don't have a vision you want to accomplish, you will just waste your time and waste your life. But if you have set vision, so yesterday's video, once it is uploaded, please make time to watch, because it asks you questions that can make you better understand what your vision is and how you can discover your core and your purpose in life. And so I'll upload it this evening, latest tomorrow morning. It will be online, both that one and this one, so you can rewatch it if you want to. Then we have the law of trade-offs. What does the law of trade-offs say? You have to give up to grow up. There is something that you have to give up to grow up. I remember when I was watching this anime, Full Metal Alchemist. These two brothers, and there is a law in alchemy which is the law of equivalent exchange. And what that means is that according to this man's third law of motion, Isaac Newton, for every action there is an opposite or equal reaction. For every growth you want to experience, there is something you have to give up to get there. And if you are not willing to make sacrifices for what you want will become the sacrifices. If you are not willing and ready to sacrifice for your vision and your goals and your visions will become sacrifices at the altar of your pleasure. And so if you want to grow up, you have to give up certain things. It is very, very important. And the law of curiosity. Growth is stimulated by asking why. Be curious. I believe one of the gifts God has given me is that curiosity nature in me. I can argue on and on and on with people, not because I want to sound controversial, but because I want to understand the reason behind why people act. I want to understand the pattern. I am a very, very curious person. Very, very curious. I remember, let me tell you this very funny joke growing up. Why I know I am a very curious person. It's very silly of me, but it will back the point of curiosity I am making. One time when I was growing up, we were in a compound house, and we were playing on the compound, and then I saw a cock trying to mount a hen. And then as at that time, I had never seen the male reproductive organ of a cock before. I don't know how it looks like. I don't think they have any organ for reproduction because you never really see it. And so while they were mating, I remember I was trying to peep and to see how they were doing it. And then I remember my mother knocking me on my head and asking me, what am I looking for over there? I look back at it now and it's funny, but that reminds me of why I know I am very curious, because I want to see how things work. I want to understand why things happen the way they happen. And that stimulates growth, because it is when you know and you are asking why, that is when you are able to grow and experience the law of curiosity. And then the law of modeling. It says this: it's hard to improve when you have no one to follow but yourself. It is hard to improve or grow when you have no one to follow but yourself. That is why each and every one of you should have at least 3 people whose life you are modeling. You are not modeling because you want to be exactly like them, but you are learning from. There are 3 things when you want to model and learn after people. There are 3 things you have to learn. Number 1, their belief systems and their mindset. Anyone you admire, don't just admire them for the fact that they are celebrities, but admire them by 1, understanding their belief systems and their mindset. Number 2, their physiology. The physiology entails how they dress, how they talk, how they walk, how they behave. Their physiology. So have
So what? Then
Good day, sir. Please, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you from here, sir. Sure.
hello, is it better now?
Yes.
You can hear me, yeah?
Yes, please.
Awesome. So, like I was saying, that I am able to preach at the street mainly because of the law of modeling. Because if you had seen me the first time I held the microphone, and it wasn't as though that was the first time I was preaching, but it was mainly because at that point, I had not modeled what it means to stand openly in public to preach the gospel. And so by first learning the mindset of the person who gave me the microphone, which is Apostle Emmanuel Taino, literally modeling his physiology, how he spoke, where he shouted. There were sometimes that I practically just took his own scriptures and then we retreated them again. But now I can stand there whether he's there or not, and because of the power of the law of modeling. And so I said, number 1, anybody you admire, it could be a preacher, it could be a businessman, learn the mindsets behind what they are doing and their belief systems, learn their physiology, and then learn their energy. It is very important because we live in a town, in a day now where it is easy for people to say, oh, this person is my mentor. You go online and people are saying, oh, what's his name? This man of God is my mentor. This man of God is my, and they are not, the only thing they admire about the person is maybe the car the person is driving or the fame of the person. No one is truly your mentor if you are not modeling the mindset behind what they do. You can know someone is your mentor by modeling their mindset. Anyways, I've spent enough time here. And then the law of expansion. Growth always increases your capacity. few years ago, I made a video about capacity. I used to have a shell, like a double layered shell that I had my books on. And my books were so many that my shell began to bend. It was almost breaking because it had exceeded its capacity. But after I built my new library. And after I moved the books from that shell to the library, I had enough room for more books. And then I made a video about it, and I said that, you see, some of us, it's not as though our problems are many. It's just because we have not increased our capacity. That is why it seems as though we are going through so many challenges. But once you increase your capacity, what happens is that you can handle your problems and even get the problems of others and add to you. So growth will expand your capacity. It will give you ability to do more. It is the power of responsibility. Once you are growing, it affords you the ability to take not only responsibility of your own life, but also take responsibility of others. And so growth will expand your capacity and enable you to do more. And then the last one is the law of contribution. Growing yourself enables you to grow others. And it is even true for my own life that if I never went on the journey of growth, there will be no way that I would say I am organizing a 4-part series and I'll be teaching at least 1 hour back to back. And I even have more things I have left out. And I'm just talking about points. Sometimes I'm talking and then I quote something. I bring this story. I bring this person, what this person said. I put, and it's because I am growing and it is enabling me to help others grow. So once you start this journey of growth and you understand that when you are growing, you can contribute and help others to also grow. It is a law. It is a law. It is not my opinion. It is a law. All right. So far, that is what I want. These are the laws of growth. You cannot win if you don't begin. The people who get ahead in the world are the ones who look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, they make them. So one of the action steps I want you guys to make after all these things we are talking about is begin something. Do something. You can begin, like I said yesterday, find the smallest step you can take and start from there. Find the smallest step for some of you is that you will buy the books. Don't even worry about reading them. You just make sure that you have, because some of you don't have any library at all. You don't, none, which is very, very bad. Very, very bad. I heard Bishop Oyedepo said that he started building his library at the age of 21. And I was like, no, this is something I also have to do. Some of you, when I come through your library, maybe 5 books, and those books were textbooks that you read in JHS is what you are adding as part of. No. So for some of you, begin at the least place. It could be buying a book. It could be paying for a seminar or something. Begin there. Pay for coaching. Pay for someone to help you. I'm struggling with this habit. Help me overcome it. Start from there, but make sure that you are beginning something. Don't just accumulate. Don't just see this train or this evolved thing as entertainment, or I have to do it because Winner has sent me the link. No. I keep telling you that it is fine if you are here because of relationship. If you know me and because of that you are here, it is fine. But don't let that be the only reason why you are here. Because if that is the only reason why you are here, you are going to lose out. I want to pause here before we talk about the dichotomy of fear. I want to pause here, and then another time I had the loss of impact that I wanted us to talk about, but I want us to do the dichotomy of fear. Another time, maybe within this month or March, we'll look at the loss of impact and then the loss of manifestations. But I want us to do the dichotomy of fear, friend or foe, and then we'll call it a night. I'll stop sharing here, and then I would ask for any question or any contribution, anything you want to say before we dive deep into the rest of our sessions tonight? Anyone with any question or anything they want to ask?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
And then I just want to ask this question. How do you find your purpose in life? How do you find your purpose in life? Because sometimes people pursue certain things that it is not their interest, but because society, that is where they find themselves. You must make ends meet. So they are doing things that is not in their interest, but they just do it all in the name of making ends meet, or that they can in order to find their purpose in life. But it seems upon doing all that, you still can't really find your purpose in life. So it's as if you are in a state of dilemma. You are just confused and you don't know who you truly are. And then you see sometimes because of how things somebody has tried and it didn't end well. So the person might be afraid that if I take this step, it might not end well. For example, somebody will travel to UK and they will make it. Somebody will also travel to the same place and might not be able to make it. So how do you have the assurance say, okay, this person didn't make it, but I'm going to make it? Because life is full of risk. And then there are two things in life. Either it goes well or it goes the other way around. But how do we have the assurance say, this thing that I'm going to do will be successful? And it all bounces back to your purpose in life. When you have the assurance of who you truly are, your purpose in life, you are able to work towards it in order to align with what you want to do or your plan or your purpose in life. I don't know if the question is clear. So that is my question.
Okay. So I wouldn't talk much because yesterday I spoke a lot about purpose. But the first thing, one of the things I want you to understand is that there are no guarantees in life. There are absolutely no guarantees in life. What that means is that there is no guarantee in life that you are going to succeed. No, there isn't. There are no guarantees that things are going to work out for you the way you want them to work out. One of the dangers, especially of our times, that I see most time is that the reason why a lot of people are not able to take the steps that they need to take is because they are waiting for the guarantee that, oh, if I take this step, it will succeed before they take it. They are looking for the guarantee that, oh, once I start this business, it will succeed before they take the step. But there are no guarantees. There is no guarantee anywhere that Evolve will work. It will only work if I decide to work. When I started, I posted a video, or I did not have any guarantee that any of you were going to join. And in fact, there were days that most of you, yesterday like this, most of you were not here. So there are no guarantees in life that if you have something that is nudging at you, you have a calling, something that is like, no, this thing, I have to do something about it. I have to take a step about it. Take the step. If you fail, you've learned. And like I said earlier, that nothing is perfect. If today was perfect, there will be no need for tomorrow. And the future of everything lies in itself. And so, yes, people, what you want to do, someone has done it and someone has failed in it. But the question is, what if it succeeds? So don't take steps from the standpoint of, oh, I am sure this will work. No, take the step that as long as it lies with me, I am going to do everything to make it work. But whether it works or not, it is not up to me. I am doing the part I have to play. You see, someone said this, that there is a difference between time and timing. This is so powerful. Make sure you get this. There is a difference between time and timing. Time is what you do with yourself, your level of preparation, your level of investment, your level of hunger. Timing is what God controls. You cannot control your timing. You cannot control your season. It is God that controls it. All you can do is that you can control your time. So as long as it lies with you, Lucky, watch the videos. Watch yesterday's video because I know you were there, but maybe because of internet, I'll upload it. Watch especially the first part, because I really explain how it is for most people to discover their purpose and certain questions that will take you to the point where you will discover your purpose. But even after discovering what your purpose is, there is no guarantee that you are going to succeed. In fact, God has not promised any one of us tomorrow. There is nowhere in the Bible that the Bible says that you'll be alive tomorrow. There is no guarantee that I will be alive tomorrow. So there are no guarantees in life. There are certain actions that you take blindly, but your only guarantee is in the faithfulness of God, that the person who has called you is faithful and just and is able to keep that which you have committed into his hands. But waiting to be 100% sure that the things you are going to do will succeed, no, there's nothing like that. And you can ask anybody who is doing something great in life. They will tell you that there were moments where they doubted. There were moments where they were not sure. There were moments where they had to take a leap of faith before things fell in place for them. And so, Lucky, whatever it is you have to do, just take the step, because there are no guarantees in life. All right. I hope I have helped you. I now want to talk about the dichotomy of fear. Dichotomy of fear, friend or foe. So I'm going to share my screen again shortly. Awesome. You're welcome. Okay. We are doing the dichotomy of fear, friend or foe. We are going to really look at how to overcome certain fears in our lives, and also to make you understand that not all fear is a bad thing. You have been sold this narrative that if you are doing something and you experience fear, it means you didn't do it. It ain't true, brothers and sisters. And so what are we going to look at? We are going to look at fear as a friend, fear as a foe, 4 fears. Then we'll continue. So the first thing I want you to understand, can you all hear me, please? Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me, please? Can you all hear me, please? Okay. Okay, thank you. So the first thing I want you to understand is that fear exists in a paradox. And the word paradox, once I explain it to you, you understand what paradox means. But first understand that fear exists in a paradox. What that means is that fear can either protect you or it can paralyze you. So fear can either be a friend, or the word foe simply means an enemy. So it can either be a friend or an enemy to you. Fear can either warn you or it will worry you. It's either saves you and sabotages you. So fear exists in these two planes. It can protect you and yet paralyze you. It can warn you and yet worry you. It can save you and yet sabotage you. The problem with most people is that we don't understand that both of these things can be true at the same time. Both of these things can be true at the same time. So understand that fear can be your prison and can also be your protector. There were certain steps I remember when this clarity came to me, that fear protects and paralyzes. It protects and imprisons. When it came to me, I remember I was lying down one afternoon and I was just thinking about, I think it was some part last year. I was just thinking about certain things I wanted to do, because there were many things I was led to do last year, but I could not do them because I was just lying down and I was wondering, am I ready? Can I do it? Is it not too much for me? What if it fails? What if people don't accept it the way and lucky, this will also relate to you in a bit of the question you asked. What if people don't accept it the way I want them to accept it? And so I realized that fear was just coming, was just boiling up in me, and it was paralyzing me. I couldn't make certain steps. I couldn't do certain things. I remember one of the things that I really wanted to do when I was scammed last year, there was someone I wanted to call to ask for help from the person. But in my mind, I was afraid to call the person, to tell the person that I need your help. And because of that, I lost the help of that person. So fear was paralyzing me. So I really, really took time to understand. And that was when God told me that fear is not only an enemy, it can be a friend as well. But our problem is that we are not able to navigate between the two, when to make fear our friend and to make fear our enemy. And the thing for most of you here is that, if in all honesty, if you ask yourself, the reason why you've not been able to take certain decisions and certain steps in your life is only because of fear. In all honesty, the reason why you've not done certain things is because you are afraid. I know it because it is true for me, but God will help and deliver us. So fear can both be an enemy and a friend. But there are three dimensions of fear. There is the biological fear. There is the psychological dimension of fear. And then there is the spiritual dimension of fear. For now, I'm only going to mainly focus on the psychological dimension of fear for today's session. When you read the book, I have chapters on each explaining the biological dimension. That when we launch it, that one, all of you have to buy that book, because most of you have not bought the Evolve, the Journey of Becoming, because you are getting things for free. So if I'm selling book for you, not buy. God is watching you. Anyways, so the biological dimension of fear, when you understand biology and you understand how the body works, you realize that there is something in the brain called the amygdala. And then the amygdala is responsible for the survival, the biological survival of your life. And every animal has the amygdala. Every animal has it, because it enables them. Becca, you are laughing because you've not bought it. If anyone should buy Evolve, Becca should have bought Evolve, like bought it and bought it for other people. And like now she's selling it for me. But God is watching her, because she's one of the reasons why I was convinced. You have it. Did you buy it?
Me, I will buy.
Did you buy it? If you have it, did you buy it?
How,
No, you
how
did
can
not
I
buy it.
send my money? That's my problem.
Oh, my brother, we'll talk.
Yeah, I want to buy it. I want to buy it.
Sure. We'll talk.
I want to.
I've heard you say.
I want to.
You have it, but you did not buy it. Anyways. Okay, so let's continue. The biological dimension of fear. Every animal has the amygdala. It is the amygdala that is also responsible for some of us, our inability to delay gratification. You know matured people by their ability to delay gratification. You see children lack the ability to delay gratification. That's why if you tell a child you will not give him or her something, they throw tantrums and they are everywhere because they don't have the ability to delay gratification. One of the ways you can tell a matured person, this is by the way, but this is important. One of the ways you can tell a matured person is by the ability to delay gratification. Because the only difference between we human beings and animals is because animals cannot delay gratification, but human beings can delay gratification. So if you're a human being and you are here and you cannot delay your gratification, you have a lot more in common with animals than you have with human beings. It is not an insult. It is just a statement of fact. So the amygdala is what processes our biological response to fear. It is designed for survival. Can't tell the difference between a lion and a dead lion. So what do I mean by that? You see, when you see a snake in your room right now, some of you will respond by your heart rate increasing and you start breathing fast and you start having your adrenaline rush into your body and all that. When I give you a microphone to speak in public, you experience the same set of fears because for your amygdala, there is no difference between whether you are standing in front of a hungry lion or you are standing in front of public because it interprets the same level of fear as the same. Why this is important for you, although I'll not dwell on it, is you have to understand that it is just biology. It is just your body's way of reacting to something that it does not know. It doesn't know how, it doesn't know what will happen. So it is just making you safe. Then the psychological dimension of fear is through the stories we tell ourselves, pattern recognition gone wrong, one experience becomes universal truth. The inner critic trying to protect by keeping you small. Then the spiritual dimension is the deep existential questions, the separation from God, the fear of meaningless, death, and being alone requires spiritual solutions. So these are the three dimensions of fear. So fear is not unilateral. See, fear is multidimensional. You can have the physical dimension of it, you can have the psychological dimension of it, and you can have the spiritual dimension of it. Now, I want to just talk about the four main fears that keep a lot of us away from reaching our goals and away from evolving. And they mainly manifest as psychological fears. That is why I said I was going to dwell on the psychological dimension of fear. The first psychological dimension of fear is the fear of rejection. And the fear, every one of us, fear being rejected. That is why we want to blend in. You see, we are talking about this, all these four parts, this thing, the theme for Evolve this year is transcending beyond the normal. And if you are not able to deal with your fear of rejection, you will not be able to transcend beyond the normal, because the core truth about rejection is that we are wired for connection. Every one of us want to be connect. So rejection feels like death because it was once tribal exile. What that means is that back when, before civilization, when people were going to be punished, they exiled them. They took them into exile. Even the first president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was sent in exile. It's a way of rejecting you. And for most of us, the reason why we are not able to evolve and transcend beyond normal cultivation is the deep-seated root fear of rejection. Because if you start doing things that are not normal, you are not conforming to the conformations that you have around you. What happens to you is that you are rejected by your peers. You can no longer fit in the mode you were before. And so we will do anything and everything to fight from being rejected. how does that manifest itself? It manifests itself through people pleasing. So some of us, we cannot stand our values. We cannot state what we believe in. We cannot be bold about the things we are doing because we want to please people. Because when we please people, we are accepted. They will not reject us. Can you still hear me? Hello, can you all hear me? Okay. So that is the first fear, the fear of rejection. And the reason of it is that it is people pleasing. But please listen to me. One of the things you have to understand about pleasing people is that no matter what you do, there are some people that you cannot please. It's just as simple as that. Even God, as loving and as gentle and as generous as God is, there are people that are rejecting God. How much more you? And so what it does is that it becomes exhausting and impossible, because it is impossible to please people. Oh. See, I know people that if you cut off your head and you take out your kidney and you put it on a tray and serve it to them, they will still tell you you've not done anything for them. They will still reject you. So it becomes impossible and it becomes exhausting. Some of you are exhausted in some relationships you are in because you are afraid of them rejecting you. You are only doing things to please them. So what it does is that it becomes performance over authenticity, because you have to perform for them. You have to always be performing that this is the kind of person you are, even when it is killing you. And one of the dangers of it is that even when you are accepted, you feel rejected because you have rejected your authenticity in order to please them. How do you overcome the fear of rejection? Number one, recognize rejection is inevitable. What does it mean is that no matter what you do, people will reject you. It is part of life. Distinguish between rejection from redirection. There are some people that when they reject you, it is in fact a deliverance. It is God that has helped you to avoid certain pain and certain heartbreak. So there are certain rejections that are just redirection. Remember whose acceptance matters most, and that is God's. If God is for you, it doesn't matter who is against you. You are better. Because it says, what's his name? This man, Billy Graham said, he says, one with God is a majority. Once God is with you, you are majority. And so recognize and remember whose acceptance matters the most. Number two, practice small acts of courage. Another book I recommend for you guys to read is The Courage to be Disliked. Read that book. Read that book. Please read that book. That is one of my favorite January books I'm reading. I read it last year. I'm reading it again this February. The Courage to be Disliked. Phenomenal book. I don't know if Charles is here. Charles, if you are here, can you please? I think he's gone out. Okay, I'll ask him to send it to the page. But you people, don't be doing PDF. Buy books. I'm an author now. So I feel the pain of when people are doing PDF books. You will not buy the book. You don't know that the person sat down to write it. And you just go sit somewhere, download it and read it. No, don't do that. So if you buy it, it's called The Courage to be Disliked. It will give you, it's a very, very philosophical book about rejection and then trauma. Very, very good book. So practice small acts of courage, because it takes courage for you to act in the midst of people not liking you. And then find people who love the real you. Like I said, find a community of people who are growing. so that when you are going and people are rejecting you, it will be normal for you, because that is it. You cannot grow and not give up certain things, including relationships. So that is how to overcome it. Let me hurry up because our time is going. Then,
do you have the book in soft copy?
I don't have the soft copy, but I would let someone send a soft copy to you, if that's okay.
Please. Yes, thank you, please.
You're welcome. Right. So there is this I read in Jack Canfield's book, How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. Another book I also want to recommend, How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be, Jack Canfield. He has this principle, and it was there that I realized that, you see, almost most of the successful people we are celebrating, they all faced rejection. Most of the, if you read the story about how Harry Potter became the book before the movie, it will amaze you. That lady was rejected so many times. Google before Google became Google, Larry Page and his colleague, they were rejected when they started the search engine. They were rejected by Yahoo and all other internet things that were there. But now you cannot, it has even become a verb. When you are looking for something, they say Google it. But they faced rejection. So there is this frame you should understand. SW, 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 SW. Some will accept you. Some will not accept you. So what? There is someone who is waiting for, especially for you that you have been trying to get in relationship for some time, that it seems as though people are not accepting you. Some will accept you. Some will not accept you. So what? There is someone who is perfectly waiting for you. So don't forget this, especially when it comes to dealing with rejection. Some people will reject you, no matter how beautifully you are dressed. There are people who reject you. But just have in mind that there is someone who is waiting for the value you are bringing. I hope that is okay. The second fear is the fear of failure. The fear of failing and the fear of failure. See, the core truth is your worth is equal to your performance. No, your worth is not equal to your performance. You have to be able to distinguish between fear as an identity and failure as an identity and failure as an event. Failure as an identity and failure as an event. You see, the word failure in itself is a verb. Failure is not a noun, it's a verb. It's a verb in the sense that it is an action word, it is an event. Once you embrace yourself as a failure, you have embraced yourself as a noun. And then the definition of a noun is a name of a thing, animal, or a place. And the final name of a thing is a noun. So if you see yourself as a failure, you are saying that is your final stage. So you have to be able to recognize that failure is not your identity, but rather it is an event. When you understand that failure is an event, you will be able to fail boldly. You will not be afraid of failing anymore. You will fail boldly because you know it is an event and you will cross over. The prison of failure is perfectionism. Some of you want to do everything perfect. You don't want to seem as though there is something wrong with you. You don't want any faults with you. And then what it does is that it gives you paralysis of analysis. Or paralysis by analysis. You try to analyze everything you want to do so much that you are not taking the step. And then one of the best ways to overcome the issue of perfectionism is to start small. That is why yesterday I told you that none of you, when the Bible said do not despise small beginning, it was a warning to you that, see, if you want everything to be perfect before you begin, you will remain stagnant in life. You will not accomplish anything whatsoever at all. So now what you have to do is that you have to redefine what failure is. And real failure is never trying. If you try something, you are far better than those who have not done anything at all. So real failure, the definition of real failure is if you have not tried to do anything with your life at all. But if you have done something and you have failed, you are not a failure. It's just an event that has happened to you. And then see every single experience as a learning experience. So when you fail, it will not hurt because you are learning. So have a learner's mindset in everything you do. When it goes well, you are learning. When it doesn't go well, you are learning. It's when you see yourself to be an expert. That is why failure becomes a bad thing for you. Currently in Ghana, there is a man of God who gave a prophecy, and that prophecy failed. And because he sees himself as an expert, it is having a negative effect on him. But that I'm sure that man, when he started his journey of prophesying, when he started like some of us are starting, I'm sure he gave prophecies that were wrong. But because he had at the back of his mind that he was learning, he was able to overcome. But now that he sees himself as an expert, he is unable to recover from the failure he has had. Because if you don't have a learner's mindset, when you fail, it has a bigger implication on you. But if you go through every experience as you are learning, it will not pain you that much because after all, I am learning. Do you understand what I'm saying? Guys, if you get these things that I'm sharing with you and you actually open your heart and you understand, a lot of you are going to, by the end of the year, you will amaze yourself by how much you've been able to accomplish. You will amaze yourself by how much you are able to accomplish. You know, Abraham Lincoln, I think he was the 16th president of America. Some of you can go and look at his track record. He failed his way into the presidency of America. You can just look at his track record. He literally failed his way. There were times where he failed until he became the president of the United States. So be able to define failure so what are some of the steps to overcome it? Redefine what failure means. Study the failures of successful people. I gave you some of them. Abraham Lincoln, you can read on him or just look at his track record. I gave you J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books. I gave you Google, the founders of Google. They all started by failing and by being rejected. Separate your worth from your performance. This area is one area that myself, I'm trying to come into complete. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning as well. I may be the one teaching, but I'm also learning. And being able to separate my performance from my worth is something that God is really helping me, especially in this season I am in. So be able to separate your performance from your worth and then practice small. See, I have consistently been talking about starting small through every single day since we started this Evolve thing. And I believe that is a prophetic word for most of us. Practice small failing and then focus on progress, not just process, not just outcome. So I have a scripture to reference it. You can read it because of time. Focus on progress, not just outcome. Then some of you, the fear of success, fearing what you say you want. That is the paradox. You say you want something, but you are afraid of it when it comes. It all goes back to the core of responsibility, because the more successful you become, the more responsibility you carry. The more successful you become, the more responsibility you carry. And then what are some of the ways, or what does success require? Success requires for you to be visible. And when you are visible, what it means is that your failures become public. And then responsibilities, higher stake, change. Life won't look the same for you. Loneliness, fewer people at your level. No more excuses. If you succeed, no more excuses anymore. I have this friend, his name is called Pakwesi Folsing. He shared with me some time ago, that was about 2 years ago. I was having a conversation with him. Before I even started Evolve, he told me, he said, "Winner, don't be afraid to shine." And it was like, it was one moment that I keep going back to over and over again, because I was telling Pakwesi knows me. He knows I'm a reader. He knows I've been doing certain things. I've based on our conversations and based on the things that I've been talking about with him, Pakwesi knew the value I was carrying, but he realized that it was because I was afraid to shine. It was because I was afraid to come out. And this was, if some of you, if you are wondering how come I started Evolve, it was through this conversation I had with Pakwesi when he told me not to be afraid to shine. And I was like, what the hell? What do I have to lose? Nothing. So let me take the step I can. And last year we had Evolve, and it has been glorious since then. So don't be afraid to shine. I don't know who has to hear this, but don't be afraid to shine. And it has become something I pass on to people. In my book, anytime I send the book to people, I tell them, don't be afraid to shine, because this book came as a result of me not being afraid to shine. Whoever it concerns, enjoy it. So examine what success means to you. You see, success is relative. What I may consider to be success may not be what you consider to be success. So in your own way, define what success is. Define what success is. Then secondly, you can succeed and still be yourself. Stay small. When you do the personal identity audit, you understand what authenticity means. Because some of you are living your life by performance. You are not truly authentic to yourself, because I told you that there are 5 ways you see yourself. You either see yourself, you see yourself either by who you think you are, who your friends think you are, who your acquaintances think you are, who your family think you are, or who you truly are. And some of us, we are afraid to be who we truly are because we don't even know who we are to begin with. So learn to be yourself, and that is where authenticity comes from. And then stay small. Staying small is not humility. So like I told you, Pakwesi told me not to be afraid to shine, because in my mind, Charlie, let me be humble. But staying small is not humility, because the Bible says that let your light shine that men will see. God is interested in your light shining. Accept that success requires sacrifice, and remember whose glory you are pursuing. If your success is to the glory of God, then remember why you are doing it. And it is not about me, it is not about you, it is not about anyone else, but it is about God. And then the last fear is the fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability equals doorway to connection. Some of you have to learn to be vulnerable. And sometimes I tell you my failures, I make sure you understand I'm not perfect, because I would not wear a mask. I cannot come and sit here and wear a perfect mask and tell you everything is fine for me. I am perfect, and preach at you. No, I have my fears. I have the things that are holding me back. Most of the things I do them because I found a way to overcome them. I wrote this book because I was at a point where I realized that I wanted to learn. And I'm teaching the dichotomy of fear because I was realizing that fear was keeping me bound and chained. So I would not wear a mask if I'm suffering. And one of the things you have to understand is how easy it is for you to lie to yourself. The most dangerous thing you can do is to deceive yourself. And it is dangerous because it is very easy for you to do it. Some of you have been lying to yourself all through last year, and you've started lying to yourself. If something is not working, it is not working. It is as simple as that. Find out how to make it work and make it work. Anyways, competence hiding insecurity, being fine hiding pain, having it together hiding struggles. Don't hide. Be vulnerable. Open yourself up, because you never know. Honestly, you never know what is waiting for you at the other side of your vulnerability. Then fully as God, Jesus Christ was fully God, he was fully man. Yes, he wept, asked for prayer, he expressed anguish. The Jesus you are serving, the one you say you love, he cried. He was fully God, he cried. So if Jesus was vulnerable, who are you not to be vulnerable? Who are you not to let people know that, Charlie, I'm not perfect? And indeed, I am not. If there is any one of us here who has more flaws, it is me. So how do you overcome that? Start small and safe. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness. People connect with humanity, not perfection. Rejection of vulnerability is information. Practice in low-stakes situations and have a personal reflective journal. Sorry for the spelling mistake. Reflective journal. So have a personal reflective journal. Somewhere that when you are feeling vulnerable, when you are feeling sad, and we are feeling sorry, you can pour your heart out. So these are the dichotomy of fear. Write down your applications. All fears rooted in the same lie. You are not enough as you are. So write down your fears. Is it fear of failing? Is it fear of vulnerability, success, fear of rejection? Find a prayer, a verse to pray, and then act in faith this week. Start small. That is what I meant to say. So move forward. Good things are up ahead. I believe so much that for most of us, our best days are ahead of us. Your best days are ahead of you. Trust me. So forget the things, the mistakes of your past. Forget how you have failed previously and step out in faith. I guess that brings us to the end of our 4 days transcending normal cultivation. How many of you are excited? Woo!
Make an observation, please. Can I make an observation?
Yes, please do. Please do, John.
If you can hear me, I said good evening, everyone. This is John Luna.
Good evening. Can you hear John?
Okay. Can you hear me, please? If you can hear me.
John, will it be okay
I can
if I
see.
introduce?
Hello, John. I can.
Let me tell them about you before you speak. Is that okay?
All right, sir. Go ahead.
I actually met John when I went to Abuja. I went to sit when I went to Koinonia. I went to sit where the guest minister sat, and I think he did not have somewhere to sit, so they brought him to where the foreign delegates sat, and I sat next to him. And then since then, he has become a brother to me, and we are in touch most often. So he's in Nigeria, he's in Koinonia, he's a son of Apostle Selman, and he has been constantly supporting me. And so that is who John is. Brother, it's good to have you here, and thank you for joining and being with us. So please, you can go ahead and state your observation. Yes, Becca, we'll go together. Don't worry.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is John Luna, speaking from Nigeria. Okay. Having heard all that you've said, sir, honestly, I am blessed. I have to confess that I've been quite engaged, like for the past 2 years. So I could not join the meeting. So first of all, I want to apologize for that. And I want to ask if there's a record of the meeting, the previous meeting. And having been in this group, I would say it would be wrong for me because I know people who will benefit from this. So I don't know if there's a way I can maybe sell this out. What I mean by sell it out is share what I've learned with other people. If there's any room for me to maybe get 2 or 3 people I know that this will be a blessing to them. I don't know if that is open for me. And most importantly, the record of the previous meeting, if I can get it myself, please.
Sure. You have no problem at all. And yes, I've uploaded the first 2 previous ones. I uploaded yesterday's own and today on the YouTube channel. So I'll just send you the link to the YouTube channel and you find all of them there. So you have no problem at all. You get all the videos that you want. And you can
Okay, sir.
you can talk to the people that you want to talk to, and then we'll see how we can make it happen.
Okay, lastly, about the evolve. So this one is should I say it here? Should I say it here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I posted the book on my status. So a lot of friends were asking me because I emphasize on the need that as a young person coming up, burning for you need to read that book. So a lot of people were asking me, how do we get it? So myself tried to see if I can get the book, and I don't understand because I don't use my card. I think I don't use this thing, Mastercard or something. So I tried to, it was showing me something. So how do I get that book? Because I need it myself and people here. If I can even buy it so that other people can benefit from it, honestly, it's fine for me. Yeah, so that's what I have to say.
Okay. So you tried the link I gave you, you tried to make payments and it was not going
Yes,
through.
yes, 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 because of the card, yeah.
Okay, so what I can do is that I can give you a way you can send maybe money to Ghana, and then I will pay maybe from an account to you and then give you access to it if that's okay.
Do you have Nigerian account?
Oh, I've been to Nigeria a couple of times, so I can arrange for that.
What I'm saying is, if you have any Nigerian account now, I can make payment this evening now.
Okay, I'll send you someone's contact to make that happen, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, I can get it done, then send the receipt for you.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, sure,
this
sure,
evening. So
sure.
that I
Oh,
get the book as soon as possible.
sure. That's fine. That's fine. That's
All
fine.
right, once again, thank you so much. I am blessed. Like that thing you said, I learned three things. I will not be afraid to shine. I will not be scared to fear of rejection, and I will not be afraid to start small. So if I do not pick anything, these things will stand out for me. But believe me, I learned a lot. And thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for the opportunity and the privilege. I count myself privileged to be in this community. And believe me, I will testify at the end of the year. And last, I want to remind you that I will build my library this year.
Yay! All right, Idris, you had a question you wanted to ask. Please go ahead and ask the question.
All right. Good evening, sir. I really appreciate you for this section. So what I want to ask is, like for me now, if I want like I'm 16 years old, you know, me being 16 years old, like when I've been starting to join seminars, reading books, Think and Grow Rich, Psychology of Money since when I was like 13 years or 14, something like that. So I've been able to have this kind of mindset that I really have to make things work for me and money mindset, personal growth and a lot of that. So for me, the kind of vision I had since then when I was 14, so since when I'll be growing to when I'll be 15 something, so the vision kind of changed. So I'm trying to say something even better than the one I've been just trying to focus on when I was like 40 years old. So how can I deal with something like that? Look, I don't know, maybe possibly if I'm still like I'm 16, maybe when I get to 18 years, I'll still see something better than that. Because this evening I even tried seeing something just came up to me, like I really need to work on this idea or make this thing happen, try to like looking at my surroundings, find some problems. But me being trying to be like 16, people just look on like this guy. I don't think this guy can really solve the problem. But one thing I just think is that I don't really think about what people think about me, but in this year, I'm trying to just put it that anytime I think about myself, just trying to ignore what people think. And but what I really want you to do is just let me try that how I can focus on more of my clarity, like stick to one stuff and just keep moving and something like that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, welcome. Idris, I at 16 years old, what was I doing? I don't think I was in any room like this where I'm attending seminars and reading books. I mean, at 16 years, you've read Think and Grow Rich and Psychology of Money, then you are way, way, way ahead of most people that I know, myself included. And so you are on the right path. I'm glad to say that you're on the right path. And I also appreciate your audacity to speak and to ask the questions that you have to ask. What I would personally do with you is that I want to take our conversation and mentoring beyond this space. because I admire the fact that you read Think and Grow Rich at age 13. That means you've exposed yourself to certain kinds of information that is very, very brilliant. One of the reasons why I would also want to take these conversations after here is because I want to understand exactly what you want to start and exactly the things you want to do. Then I can now tailor my recommendations or my advice, as it were, to also help you on the journey. But I just want you to know that I admire the fact that I read How to Think and Grow Rich at the age of, I think, 23 or 24. And that was, so you are like 10 years, I'm 10 years behind, or 10 years earlier than me. So yeah, well done. And I admire that. And I'm sure for most of us here as well. So I'll take the conversation after here. I can have one-on-one call with you so that we can dive deeper to understand the peculiarity and the idiosyncrasy of your issue. And we'll see how God will help us to overcome that. I hope that is okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Abigail, thank you. Theophilus. Theophilus has been the most consistent person throughout our distance. So you get to win the most consistent participant of Evolve 2026. Like I said, we have other things in the pipeline. And so let's be expectant. And unfortunately, this is the last free event we would do as Evolve. So moving forward, every single other thing we would do, maybe we will pay something just to upgrade the value that you guys put on what you are receiving. Becca, I'll get your question and then I'll release everyone to go. Becca, your hand is up.
Okay, so with the introduction of fear, you said fear can also be our enemy, but in 2 Timothy 1:17 says, God has not given us the spirit
Hello. Okay, so I guess I can't. Okay, you've finished asking your question, so let me give an answer. I knew, my ringtone for my phone. Anyone, I think Abigail would know, or maybe Theophilus would know as well. My ringtone for when you call me right now, what will come is my voice quoting that scripture, that for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. In fact, I wish I could play it for you guys, but take my word for it. That is my ringtone. So I know and I understand that scripture very, very well. Reason why fear is a good thing is, why will you not climb on top of a building to jump down? Because of fear, because you know when you fall down, you will die. And the Bible talks about fear, the fear of God. And the fear of God, fear becomes reverence when you know the consequence of taking an action. For instance, I tell Abigail, and for those of you that don't know Abigail Arabende, the beautiful lady sitting there, she's my beloved. So meet Abigail. I tell her all the time that when we marry, one of the reasons why I would not fornicate or what's the word? Commit adultery is mainly because of the fear of God. Because of the fear I have for God. So in this case, while God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of love, the fear that I have for the consequences of the action I would take is now my friend, because it is preventing me from what I would do. And so maybe to explain further, you can judge whether fear is your friend or a foe by the consequences you are going to get. And so if fear is preventing you from doing something that will reveal the glory of God, then fear at that point is an enemy. But if the fear you have is going to prevent you from doing something that will make you take a very foolish decision, that will implicate your life, your destiny, and the lives of others, then that fear becomes your friend. So you can measure what the fear is doing, whether it is a friend or foe, by the consequences that will happen or what it is preventing or allowing in your life. Does that make sense to you, Becca? So usually measure this fear. So when we talk about the 4 types of fear, the fear of rejection, it prevents you from doing what God has called you to do. Because if God tells you, Moses, go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go, Pharaoh is going to reject you. So if that fear is keeping you away from doing what God has sent you to do, then that fear is your enemy. But if that fear is telling you that instead of hitting the rod on the rock or tapping it, that fear tells you not to do it, then that fear becomes your friend. So I remember I opened the chapter of the book by saying that William Shakespeare said that nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So no experience is either good or bad, but what you think about it will either make it good or bad. And I said that in most cases, it is not true because there are some things that are evil. So for instance, when a mother gives birth to a child and drops the child in a gutter, that is not a good or a bad, it is purely evil. So there are some things that are evil. But sometimes fear is not good or bad. It is what you think or what it leads you to do that will determine whether it is good or it is bad. So while it is true that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, there are some fears too that helps us to express love more. There are some fears that help us express power more. There are some fears too that help us express the peace of mind. There is this popular, it became a movie that John Wick, if any of you have seen John Wick movie, the part 3, it says parabellum. What it means is that prepare for war. And the full Latin statement is that if you want to have peace, prepare for war. That means that for there to be peace, there has to be the ability to prevent war. So that is also the reasoning behind the whole fear thing, that what at all is it that this fear is keeping me away from? If it is keeping me away from doing the things God have told me to do, then it is an enemy. But if at the long run, this fear is helping me, the reason why, for most people, the reason why they would not sleep with someone they are not married to is because maybe they are afraid they will get pregnant. And so that fear, what God has not given you the spirit of fear, that fear will not allow you to go and do that because you are afraid of getting pregnant. So in that case, that fear is your friend. Have I explained it enough for you, Becca?
Yes, please.
So you understand it now?
Yes. Yes,
Awesome.
I'm okay with it.
Awesome. Okay. We've exceeded our time. And I am personally, thank you all so much for staying
Very much.
through. Thank you for your consistency and thank you for the support. We'll meet again when we meet again. I love you, but I want to pray for you before we go. Father, I pray for each and everybody who has been on this evolved journey with us, those who are watching again on YouTube and those who are freshly here. I pray that, Father, your presence will be with them. For whatever reason that you called us together, I pray that you will dispense the graces that they need in their lives and in their destiny. A year after today, when we meet, Father, let it be that it is just a record of testimonies of doing exploits in your house and in your kingdom. I thank you so much, Father, for answering my prayer. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray. Amen. Lastly, I want you, the thank you want to give me, the only way I want you to thank me is to talk to someone about the things you have learned. That is the only thank you I need. You can either post it on the page how these sessions has been for you, or you can recommend it like John is going to do to other people. said he has about 3 or 4 people that he is going to recommend them to and also get them in touch with me. So that is the only way you can thank me. You cannot give me money. You cannot. The only way I want you to thank me is to make sure that you let someone else has access to some of these things that you have heard. That is the only thank you I need. God bless you. I love each and every one of you. We'll meet again. Have a good one.